In the push to go green, fossil fuel workers are being left in the dust. A new study from UC Berkeley looked at what happened to oil refinery workers who were laid off in California in 2020. The good news? Most were able to find another job.
The bad and very bad. On average, they saw a 24% pay cut. A third fell back financially. A third took early withdrawals from their retirement. Let's bring in Center for Industrial Progress President and founder Alex Epstein. Great to see you, Alex, always. This is a sliver of the vast destruction that all of these policies will have on our economy.
Yeah, this whole idea of green jobs poses as, oh, there are going to be better jobs in energy. And if that were true, if we were getting superior ways of producing energy, that would lead to better jobs, and that would be better overall. But unfortunately, green jobs involve forcing us to use inferior forms of energy. So one consequence is that the most productive energy workers get put out of work. They don't get superior jobs. But then everyone's job suffers. So when you have the more green jobs you have, the more expensive and unreliable energy becomes, the more everyone's job suffers, because you're going to offshore more and more jobs to places like China that actually have low-cost, reliable energy because they are actually free to use fossil fuels.
Really good point. And you know what? The ban on natural gas is creeping its way back into reality. New York could soon become the first state to ban natural gas hookups in their buildings. And so, again, we've heard a lot about this, Alex, where this was all speculation. This was all theory. Republicans were going crazy saying, you know, they're going to take away our gas stoves. But here it's coming to reality. New York is looking at banning gas.
Yeah, I mean, this is always part of the proposal. If you look at what's the top line item of the Biden economic agenda, let alone energy agenda, it's rapidly eliminate fossil fuels on the 2050 timetable. They have a very aggressive 2035 timetable for quote unquote electrification. And what that involves is forbidding us from doing anything that doesn't involve electricity, and then requiring us to use overwhelmingly solar and wind electricity. So what they're doing is they are reducing the supply of reliable electricity dramatically and increasing demand for reliable electricity dramatically. What could go wrong?
It's moronical. And then let's just look at these headlines. Then they try to tell conservatives or people who call them out on their horse manure that we're out of our minds. Look at these headlines. Republicans thrust gas stoves into the culture wars. Time labeling it a right-wing cause. There was an op-ed on MSNBC slamming it as dumb. That we were saying, one, it's about choice, Alex, but two, it is about right now, where they want to get rid of gas stoves, but where do you think our electricity still comes from? The vast majority, well, most of it comes from natural gas power plants right now. So none of this makes any sense. We need on-demand power. Guess what doesn't provide on-demand power? Solar and wind.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I thought it was really good that the gas stoves thing got publicized, because it was one of these things where they've been getting away with reducing our freedom for years and making us more and more dependent on a grid while making the grid worse and worse. So it really has this very scary totalitarian quality where we can't do anything that's not on the grid. And then they control the grid, and the people controlling the grid very clearly don't care about low-cost, reliable electricity. And so it was good that people woke up to a use of energy that they really wanted to be a specific way, namely natural gas for cooking. That should be a wake-up call that all of your rights are being taken away. Because if you don't have the freedom to use energy, you don't have the freedom to have successful businesses, you don't have the freedom to be free in your personal life, you can be in California like I am, and Newsom can screw up the grid and then tell you, hey, you can only use an EV, but don't charge your EV because it's too hot. And by the way, don't use your air conditioning either. And that actually happened to us last summer. We get these alerts in California that say, when it's hot, don't charge your EV and don't use air conditioning. What is the point of energy if that's going to be what happens?
And it's racist. You take away a gas flame, you know what? That hurts Asian cultures across the United States. Alex Epstein, good to see you. Epstein, thank you so much.
Thanks, Alex.